So there is a whole bunch of high-profile people that have been leaving OpenAI. I keep meaning to record a podcast on it, and then we get another person that leaves, and so it's kind of drawn out for a second. But I want to bring up the grand tally on who's gone so far. So we recently had John Schulman, who was a co-founder of OpenAI, one of the originals. This is probably one of the biggest one of the biggest pieces of the biggest things happening here. But he just left to go join Anthropic. So he obviously was a really big part of their alignment research team, and he also had a really big role in developing ChatGPT. So John was like a huge part of the team. He was one of the OG founders of, I think, like the original 5 or 6 founders. This is a really big move. There's like a lot of speculation. I'm going to get into all of that, but I want to bring up a couple of the other people. Someone else, of course, is Peter Deng. He was a product manager at OpenAI. He left the company a little while back. But he joined OpenAI after leading product at a bunch of big tech companies like Meta, Uber, and Airtable. So like this was kind of like one of the original. People were like, oh, look, a big person's leaving OpenAI. But he obviously wasn't a co-founder. Then we had John Schulman, who is a straight up co-founder, leave, and not just leave, but go over to Anthropic. I saw a ton of commentary on X where people were saying like they've never been more bullish on Anthropic because of this. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't look very good when you have a co-founder from what's arguably like the leading company go to what is maybe like the second up, right? It'd be like, I don't know, if a co-founder of Coca-Cola left and went to Pepsi, it'd be like, okay, well, what does Pepsi have? So I'll break down why, but the one other thing that I think is a big deal, now this person hasn't left, but Greg Brockman recently tweeted out, he said, I'm taking a sabbatical through the end of the year. First time to relax since co-founding OpenAI 9 years ago. The mission is far from complete. We still have a safe AGI to build. So Greg Brockman is taking a sabbatical. I think this is really big. There's only like 2, I think, Sam Altman now and one other person right now that it's like the original co-founders at the company running it. I think this is very, very interesting. Now, Greg Brockman obviously isn't as big of a deal because it's just a sabbatical. What I will say though is I have seen on occasion these like long sabbaticals from a co-founder. You get very burnt out. He's been doing this for 9 years. Obviously, this has been a very crazy last year and a half. So the burnout's real, and I think he's probably trying to fight it. What I have seen in the past though is essentially after this like 6 months or whatever, however long he takes off, then them being like, okay, I'm moving on to new things. So sometimes that's like a precursor. Maybe he didn't want to say I'm moving on because, well, they just had John say he's moving on. So like they don't want it to look like everyone's jumping ship. So they're just like, hey, well, do you want to say you're taking a sabbatical? I'm just speculating on that. Very well could just be that he was feeling kind of burnt out and he wanted to take some time, which definitely deserved 100%. And especially with the trajectory of the company. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Now, my one other conspiracy theory that I'm going to throw down, because I know you all come here to listen to my conspiracy theories on what possibly could happen in AI. And I have been right on like a good chunk of these, by the way. So I'm not saying this is the case. I have been right on a good chunk of these. My assumption here is if he's going to take a sabbatical to the end of the year, what this very much feels like, I just don't feel like anyone that's like majorly involved in such a pivotal technology like this would do this if there was like some insane groundbreaking thing that was like just on the horizon about to get launched, right? Like if they were just about to announce GPT-5 and it was like this AGI and it was going to like change everything, I don't imagine that's when he would take his sabbatical, one of the, the key players in OpenAI. And so my assumption, what it kind of feels like to me, yeah, sure, it's like everyone kind of wants to take the summer off, and so maybe that's like an element of it. But what it kind of feels like to me is they've made some breakthroughs. Maybe they're setting the model to get trained. It's like, okay, this thing's gonna take like 6 months for it to like finally finish training this like super insane GPT-5 model of all insanity. And he's like, well, guess I won't sit around twiddling my thumbs while it's training. I'll take a sabbatical and I'll come back for the action when this thing's like ready to launch and take over the world. So that's my conspiracy theory. We almost could take this sabbatical as potentially as there's some big things happening on the horizon when he's coming back. So I don't know, just food for thought, an interesting thing. going back to John Schulman, why he actually left, he said that his decision to leave OpenAI was motivated because he wanted to focus a little bit more on AI alignment and to do a little bit more hands-on technical work. So he was saying, that Anthropic had a bit better of an environment for him to do that. He said that he was not leaving because he was, dissatisfied with OpenAI and kind of what they were doing with their alignment or their safety or anything like that. He said that, everyone at OpenAI had been, like, leadership and stuff had been super supportive of his research in this area. So he said more this was just a personal decision about his career direction and stuff. Okay, reading between the lines on that too, though, I do think it's super, super interesting. Like, if you're the co-founder of OpenAI, like one of the most pivotal AI companies, being like, oh, just like my career direction. I don't know. In my opinion, I just feel like you're sort of set for life if you just ride it out, and not just set for life, but like if you want to have a big impact. Obviously, this is like the AI company that's going to have a massive impact. I can't help but feel like jumping ship to your major competitor. I don't know. It's just like, some people, I totally get when you hop between companies because you're trying to move up in the ranks, right? It's just like, oh, my company's not promoting for me from within, so I'll go to another company that will. That makes perfect sense. But when I don't know, you're the co-founder of the company, it feels like you pretty much are at the top and then you're going to hop over to a competitor. I don't know. Just interesting. My speculation is there's probably more than meets the eye in the situation, and all of him being like, don't worry, me leaving is definitely not due to dissatisfaction with anything, blah, blah, blah. Seems like he might just be saying that to stay in the good graces or whatever, or not run into any issues or not sabotage his own company. But like in reality, he's leaving for a reason. There probably is some dissatisfaction he has. He probably just doesn't want to cause drama. So that's my speculation, and it will be interesting. So yeah, now that he's gone, there's only 3 of OpenAI's original 11 founders. They had 11 original founders. Only 3 of them are still at OpenAI. Of course, Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, and Wojciech Zambia. So this is a huge reduction in the entire founding team, as far as like the original founders. And yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting. It feels kind of like there's a bunch of changes happening at the company. There's a lot of changes happening in the industry for sure, but this is, I think, definitely very interesting. So kind of talking about all of this, the OpenAI and OpenAI spokesperson said, quote, "We're grateful for John's contributions as a founding team member of OpenAI and his dedicated efforts in advancing alignment research. His passion and hard work have established a strong foundation that will," whatever. Okay, you get the idea. It's just like kind of like a boilerplate ChatGPT response of, he's awesome, we're all friends, supports the future of AI. Yeah, John specifically said about all of this, quote, "I've decided to pursue this goal at Anthropic where I believe I can gain new perspectives and do research alongside people deeply engaged with the topics I'm most interested in. I'm confident that OpenAI and the teams I was part of will continue to thrive without me. Company leaders have been very committed to investing in alignment research. My decision is a personal one based on how I want to focus my efforts in the next phase of my career." And Sam Altman also was, very positive towards him. And he said, "Thank you for everything you've done for OpenAI. You're a brilliant researcher, a deep thinker about product and society, and mostly you're a great friend to all of us. We'll miss you tremendously and make you proud of this place." So Sam Altman is promising to make him proud of OpenAI and what they're going to accomplish there. Maybe kind of saying like, it feels kind of like, don't worry, like we're not going to mess this up. We're going to keep safety and at top of mind to make sure this company actually goes and helps humanity, like was kind of the original goal with it being an open source kind of company at the beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Hopefully that gave you plenty to chew on between Greg Brockman and John there. I think there's a lot of interesting things at play. I would say definitely do not count out Anthropic right now. I'm quite bullish on the company. Most of my developers, to be honest, are using it for coding right now and finding it much better than ChatGPT. So very interesting stuff going on right now with OpenAI that I thought could not be beat. And perhaps OpenAI is a big model right around the corner, but you never know. And for the moment, I would say Anthropic is doing some really impressive stuff. So do not sleep on that. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed this episode, honestly, it would mean the world to me if you could drop a review for the episode or for the podcast. It helps me out a ton to get great guests. I hope that you all are having a fantastic summer, and I will catch you all next time.